Welcome to Simply Robotics, the podcast, a podcast exploring the animation industry one episode at a time. I'm your host, Monique. You can find me on all social media platforms at Simply Robotics, SIMPLYROBOTIX. When listening to the show, don't forget to use the hashtag Simply Robotics Pod to join the conversation. Now, I'm just going to preface this episode really quickly by saying it's another guest, and this is one of the first friends I've made, now maybe 4 years ago when I first started podcasting with my other show. And it's it's another episode, unfortunately, where we had a lot of technical difficulties, but we pushed through. So I hope that you're able to enjoy the episode despite whatever little hiccups you may hear, because it is really good. And I'm just very happy I was able to have him. And let's get into the show. Welcome, Marcus, my guest. Would you mind telling my listeners, first off, just where you're from?
I'm from Queens, New York.
So then, did you go to school for the current industry that you're working in?
Yes, I went to graduated my undergrad degree with in a bachelor's of biology, and now I'm in nursing school in my last semester.
Okay, so that should be interesting for you, especially with all this health pandemic stuff that we're going through.
It's been great. Business is booming.
Oh man. I was we're going to say, how are you, kind of navigating, even though we're barely just starting to a certain extent, but your school and whatever you were doing up until probably, last week?
So up until, I could even put it as up until this week, everything has been business as usual in regards to school. I'm on spring break now, and as a lot of people were leaving to go to their destinations, that's when they sent out the information letting us know that things will be online. And then I just got an email yesterday saying that it was supposed to have been online to the 4th of April. Now it's online indefinitely. Graduation's been canceled. They're trying to find a way to get us all of the clinical hours we need without having to physically be around people. So it's been interesting and upsetting at the same time.
That's true, because y'all have clinicals, and what would that have to look like? Online simulation stuff?
I have no idea. I'm praying that it's not, because I truly hate online classes, and I get the most out of it, being around the patients and physically interacting with them. That's how I learn and get the most of my information. So having to just sit and listen to a WebEx, I know me, I'm going to fall asleep, or I'm going to daydream or go do something else. So I'm praying that this turns around or something.
So I also have been asking people what was their first job ever, preferably on the books, and what was your first job in the industry that you're currently in?
Oh, okay. I'm glad you said the industry I'm in, because I was about to say, if I talk about BJ's, whew. My first job, I worked as a research assistant. No, I lied. Research assistant at Columbia University. I was working with heart and liver transplants. Yeah, this was on the books. I started there around 2016. Prior to that, I was just doing different odd jobs. I worked at Queens Library and things of that nature. But my first healthcare position was as a research assistant. I was in that position for about a year, and then I got promoted to become a research coordinator. I worked there for another 2 years, and then I just went into school.
So that's your first industry job. So it was your first paying job, still on the books, but first paying job.
BJ's.
BJ's Wholesale. How old were you there?
I was 17. Up until that point, most of my summers was spent doing track and basketball. So yeah, that was my first real job, and I hated it so much.
Okay. Because I like to, just for people to hear that, usually when you're coming out of high school or early college, you are doing a bunch of random odd jobs that kind of don't correlate to where you're trying to get to, but we all have a beginning type of thing. So, I know because you're my friend that you have a podcast. Can you tell my listeners a little bit about your podcast, like what it's called and what you guys are about?
So my podcast is called Enter the Minds. It's me and three of my friends, and it's pretty much the spectrum of four black men coming of age and trying to navigate through the world. So we'll have moments where we just have pretty much our venting sessions and we try to teach each other and learn from everyone's different experiences. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's really impactful and it comes across where we won't talk to each other for a few days, but it's really helpful.
Wait, so sometimes based on the recording session, y'all won't talk to each other?
There's times where we've had like recordings and then things happened after the fact, like during the recording, and conversations continued after the recording, and tensions have run high between certain people. There's been attitudes, but eventually we fix it. But yeah,
wow,
we really put like, we've had an episode recently where we pulled each other on our like toxic or negative traits, so to speak, and that one was really like a hard hitting one. It came to like a lot of things that need to be addressed came across, and we're better for it now.
Okay. Well, I brought you here because I don't know how this came up per se. You know, if you remember, you can let me know. But one way or another, it came up that like one of your favorite movies was The Great Mouse Detective. And I thought that it would be kind of good to have you on to talk about this movie because it's a movie that when I was a child, I probably was like 4 or something like that. I guess my dad got it for me and I started watching it. And once this little like kidnapping scene happened, I was like, nope, turn this off. I'm done.
So the first two minutes.
Well, yeah. So I rewatched this film in its entirety just a couple hours before recording this episode. I still couldn't bring myself to like watch the movie. And I'm like, like you're so much older. Like you're 25 years older than when you first saw this film. Like it's okay. But rewatching it, I was like, oh, so that all happened in the first 2 minutes and you really couldn't hang. Like,
Bro,
so,
like the first 2 minutes.
I could not. And this whole time I thought the girl got kidnapped and it was her dad, which I know that from reading like the little description of the film, but still that image of her being snatched up, it was in my child brain. So yes, so I like to have my guests do the honors of recapping the movie. So tell the listeners what The Great Mouse Detective is about with limited spoilers if possible.
All right, so boom, here we go. Have a tale. Pretty much, it's a Sherlock Holmes movie with mice and a rat. So it opens up like Monique says. There's his father and his daughter. It's her birthday. He gives her a gift. It's like this flower that turns into a ballerina. It's actually dope. When I watched it again recently, I was like, yo, this is actually good animation right here. This holds up to me.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But then a bat with a crippled wing and a peg leg comes in and kidnaps the dad. And then she goes on this journey to find this man named Basil, who is pretty much the mouse Sherlock Holmes. And they go on this journey to find her dad, who is also, the bat works for this like rat, who is kind of like the big wig, like his Basil's nemesis. I can't remember his name right now. What is it? Wait. It's R something. I wanted to say Riddlin. Radigan. I was close.
Yes.
Radigan. So pretty much the whole movie is like them going on this journey. He also has a dog that's implied that it's Sherlock Holmes' dog that does all of the sniffing for the scents. And they go on this journey to find her dad. Radigan has this plan where he wants the dad to make, I can't remember the dad who was kidnapped's name for the life of me.
Hiram?
Hiram. Okay. I never, like, even when I was young, I couldn't remember his name. I always just was like the dad. They wanted to make a robot to like replace the queen so that Radigan can rule the country. And without going into any more spoilers, it's legit a Sherlock Holmes movie. And back in like when I was younger, I really loved all type of like mystery things. Like I was a Scooby-Doo go hard. So when my dad brought this home for me one day, I was like, oh no, I'm in love. This is it.
What about Wishbone? Were you into that?
Wishbone, yes. Wishbone, Ghost Rider, all of that stuff. I loved it.
Okay, so you kind of doubled into why this is your favorite. So do you have a favorite character and a least favorite character?
So, as I was texting you yesterday, my new least favorite character is the daughter. I hate the way she talks, Olivia. And I know it's the accent, but I just hate the daddy. I'm like, oh my
Yes.
God, please stop talking. And my favorite character still to this day, I'm gonna say is Basil. Basil and the housekeeper, because the housekeeper wasn't for
Okay,
any of
that's
the
fair.
BS.
I kind of just really like the toy. I don't know. Oh, the least favorite character I think for me is the bat, but
What?
I
You
really
ain't
like the
like him?
flower dancing toy.
The toy is amazing. The bat, I like the bat. I like his voice.
No, I don't. The bat is no. Maybe that's like a childhood trigger is when he was stole the dad, and that's why I don't like him.
Maybe why. I just like him because he reminds me of the Treasure Island thing. Boss, the plane. Like his voice is so funny to me.
I wonder if it's like you're talking about live action or the animated. You talking about Treasure Planet?
I don't remember what it's like an old TV show my grandma used to watch where it was like the little small, like the short guy, like the real small guy, tattoo or something like that. He'd be like, boss, the plane. I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna find it. I got you. Fantasy Island. Yeah.
And this is when things started to get a little shaky. So we had to do a switch. And you're going to hear a little bit of a difference in the audio. However, the conversation is still good. You're still going to want to keep listening. So let's get back to the show. So who's your favorite character and who's your least favorite character?
My favorite character, I would say, is Basil and his housekeeper, because whenever he was on his bullshit, his housekeeper was like, nah, chill. What are you doing? These are my favorite pillows. Why are you doing this? Like, she was always there to check him. And I feel like you need that in life. You need a friend like that. Least favorite is Olivia, because I hate the way she talks. I hate her accent.
She's very cute, but I understand. Where are they supposed to, like, in my reading, it said that she's like Scottish. And is that generally where like Sherlock Holmes is from?
So that's where I was confused too, because I remember Sherlock Holmes was mostly like in London, Englandish.
Right.
I think more. So when they were saying Scottish, I was just a little confused, because then they was also talking about the Queen. And I'm like, so that's the Queen of England.
Right. Yeah. But then in the end, they were like, they had to catch their train back home. But then it also makes me wonder, how did she get so far by herself?
With no money.
Like, yeah. Things that they're able to do with like, and get away with then, I guess people weren't really asking questions.
Yeah, I guess so.
Did you have any like just comments that you wanted to make on the movie too? Because I felt like you may have taken notes or something.
Like my biggest, the movies, I still like it the way I did when I was younger. It just sucks now because I haven't seen it so much. I knew what, like going into it, I'd already played so many scenes over in my head. So when the scene actually came up, I was like, okay, well, I also like that there's certain things that I wouldn't understand until I was an adult. Like it was a point where Radigan was trying to rile up his troops and everyone had like glasses. When I was young, I thought it was juice or some shit. Now that I'm older, I'm like, they're clearly drinking alcohol. So I understand why that mouse had his cup. It was like, yo, dog, I don't have nothing else. Like, come on. I was like, I understand, friend. I wouldn't want to be there if I didn't have alcohol and everyone else was drinking. Like, no.
This is so funny. My my time limit just went off. That was hilarious. Shut the app down. Cool. Back in action. I know. If it's not one thing, it's another, man. This is amazing. Moving forward, part of, when I when I would like to have guests on the show, when people express their interest, I ask them just like, share a couple of their favorite movies and shows and stuff like that. So another movie that you had was a Goofy movie. So I know you probably didn't watch this recently, which will make this more fun. But if there's anyone out there listening that hasn't seen a Goofy movie, can you tell them what it's about?
First and foremost, is Disney's first Black movie. That's first thing you need to know. Like, that was a coming of age story. I remember I was like 5 or 4. Like, I really remember seeing this movie, like buying the VH. My dad giving me the tape. I truly remember this.
So is a Goofy movie more black than The Lion King?
Those are. Oh, you know what? I'm bugging. That's the first like two-legged mammal black people movie. I apologize. I'm sorry, Mufasa. My bad. But those two are the first 2 black movies in Disney lore. But the Goofy movie really hit home because I really identified with Max, and I still do.
Okay.
Like, you always wanted to do that thing to impress the girl you like, even if it was gonna get you in trouble, especially at that age. I didn't know no better. I was like, yeah, I'll do something stupid that I know I shouldn't be doing to make her laugh. Sure, go for it. But the premise of the movie is Max is trying to get the girl. He commandeers a whole school auditorium meeting or whatever to perform as this singer they like called Powerline. He gets caught. He gets detention. The teacher tries to tell his dad, Goofy, that, he don't get his act together, he's going to be a delinquent. Goofy overreacts, as most parents do, and was like, we need to bond over this father-son trip. But before leaving, Max decides to lie to the girl he likes, Roxanne, which, by the way, Roxanne, come on, bro. Roxanne. Roxanne, son. So he lies to her. He was like, yeah, my dad knows Powerline, so I'm going to be on the concert. They was going to watch this concert at her house. He said he's going to be at the concert. So now Max is on this trip trying to find a way to get his dad to take him to LA so he can try to find a way to go to this concert. And Goofy's just trying to bond with his son. And then the movie turns into legit a father-son bonding movie, which I really enjoyed because me and my dad was watching this movie together. So it was one of those things where I'm bonding with my dad. Like, he used to take me to see all of the movies when they would first come out and stuff like that. So that one really hit because, again, as I said, black people, we was bonding over some real shit. And I can't talk about the Goofy movie without talking about the greatness of Powerline. Powerline was out here pumping out hits and dance moves that last to this day.
Yeah, you just those are there's a couple songs off of the Goofy movie soundtrack, but I feel like those were just very pivotal and just they're a part of the culture, the Lion King soundtrack and the Goofy movie soundtrack.
Bro, Eye to Eye, you couldn't tell me shit when Eye to Eye. I still have Eye to Eye on my phone right now.
Seriously, yeah.
Tevin Campbell put his foot in that movie, yo.
So do you have a favorite character and a least favorite character?
In the Goofy movie, I don't think it's anyone I dislike. I truly don't think there's anyone I dislike. I even like Pete, and I usually hate Pete in everything.
Yeah, you're supposed to hate Pete.
Yeah, and I could not hate Pete because I was like, yo, Pete, that I know parents like that. I know people like that. So I get it. It's funny. So that's going to be my favorite character. And as I said, I don't really have a least favorite. Matter of fact, I lied. Roxanne's hating that friend. I hate her.
Her friend.
I lied just that quick. It came back to me. Because there's always that one girl in the crew that's hating on your boy that's trying to get her friend. It's always that one, yo.
Oh, man, I wish we knew her name. Okay, so another movie you mentioned, you sent me, similar to Derek, aka DJ, you sent me, quite a couple of your favorite animated stuff. And this one I found interesting because I'm not really into anime. I'm taking my baby steps getting acquainted. But you had something, and I feel like I don't even understand the whole full name, but it was Mobile Suit Gundam Revenge stuff. Hold on. So before you start, I did watch the trailer, and I didn't really understand it, but it seems like it's dealing with something in regards to established story.
Yeah, so with the Gundam series, it's they have a whole timeline and different universes that Gundam takes part in. So
is this related to Gundam Wing?
So Gundam Wing is a different branch of the original show is Mobile Suit Gundam, and Gundam Wing is a branch of that. So Mobile Suit Gundam has a whole a long timeline where it picks up different main characters. And Gundam Wing is, as I said, that's a different universe. That was, of course, everyone's I feel like everyone around our age group, that was our introduction to Gundam was Gundam Wing. Okay. Shout out to Hiro Yui. Everyone loves Hiro. But Mobile Suit Gundam, I took an interest in that because they started to show that on Toonami as well. And that one, the protagonist's name is Amuro Ray. And his like antagonist, his rival is Char Admirable, I believe. So the trailer you watched was pretty much the culmination of like their story because it takes place over like the original series Mobile Suit Gundam. Then I can't remember the second one. There's another show that takes place right after it called Zeta Gundam, where Amuro's not the main protagonist, but he's there and Char is there as well. And then it transitions from that one into Char's counterattack, which, as I said, is like the ending of their story.
Okay, so, I mean, did you kind of recap it? Is there more to that than what you just said? That without like, spoilers? So,
I mean, yeah, it's hard to recap that because, as I said, it spanned over like two series and an animated movie. But the biggest thing is this was more so like a coming of age one for me because it's really starting to deal with people's ideologies and differences on opinions. So it made you think rather than just like, I want to see someone get beat up. I want to see the bad guy win. There's certain aspects where I'm like, nah, I kind of agree with who they're trying to tell me is the bad guy. I see his point of view. Mm-hmm. I see why he's doing these things. So pretty much it's like a war that's been going on between the Earth Federation and I think it's Zaft. I can't remember. There's so many different names for the people in space, but people have branched out into space and it's pretty much the Earth versus the people in space. The people in space want to be independent and the people on Earth still want to be in control of them. And it's in an ongoing war for years. Amuro becomes like he's like 14 and he finds out he's what they call a new type. So he's like he has innate abilities and he can control the Gundam very well. And as I said, it's hard to explain. But really the basis of it is like the different ideologies. Like you sit there and the exposition is really where you're like, yo, I totally get why he may think that way.
And is that why it's like one of your favorites is because there seems to be like a more of like it's just more than like you're saying, just fighting and stuff like that. Like it's about like the motives and why characters are kind of making the decisions that they're making.
Exactly. Like honestly, like Char's counterattack is the biggest one because you don't get a happy ending. You don't get resolution to a degree. Like you get both of the people at the end of the movie, they both die. You get what I'm saying? Like, and we don't even know if we don't even necessarily know if they die. We just don't that they're listed as missing in action because some crazy event occurs. Char tries to throw a asteroid that will put Earth into a nuclear winter. Amuro does what he has to do and stops it, but both of them disappear, and it leads you to think like, okay, I get why Char was doing this because the Earth has problems. And I also get why, the Earth, of course, went when an asteroid dropped on them. I was so pretty much like that movie and the ideology that came with that started to put the foundation and led me to. That's why I like Thanos. That's why I understand. Like, you know what? Everyone might not like what he's doing, but in the end, it makes sense. That's why when like me and you argue and whoever else I argue with, I'm like,
I just am entertained. Right. I don't feel like he was right or wrong. Like I feel like I understand where he was coming from. For me, it's more so like about his execution and like, isn't there a better way to have done what he did? Kind of, especially leading up to the snap, especially like leading up to the
easiest
snap.
way.
Like,
it was the easiest way to go about things, and it was fair. It wasn't me picking. Sure. Everyone got an equal chance to survive.
Thanos is not like for me. It's not a debatable topic. I just listen to people talk about him. So with this, do you have a favorite and least favorite character?
So there's this girl in there, my least favorite. Her name is Faye. Like I was so happy that she died in this movie. Like you don't understand. When every time they would put her into a suit and she was in space, I was like, Amuro, please, for God, shoot her, please. Please shoot her. When she died, I was so happy. I think I might have paused it and cheered a little bit in my room. I was so happy. And my favorite, honestly, Char. Char was a man, listen. If he was a real nigga and he would have convinced me to do some shit too. I really loved, like, he was a very charismatic. He'd be like, yo, we're going to run into this brick wall and it's going to fall down eventually. I'd be like, I don't know how we're going to do it, but I'm going to do my part. Like, he was really that nigga.
So to keep
I loved
going
him.
on this Gundam, but switching over to like the games that I play, we're gonna do One's Gotta Go. So we're gonna start off with Char. You're gonna have to help me with the names. Is it Amura?
Okay.
Amuro? Sure. Is there someone
Amuro?
Hathaway? Wait, okay, and Bright. And Bright.
Hathaway could go, but
Hathaway and
continue.
Bright.
Yes. Hathaway could go. I love Bright. Bright was pulling up on everyone, just like, yo.
Why does Hathaway have to go?
Like, we got to. Because Hathaway, I put in the box with that annoying girl. Like, Hathaway, he was in love with this girl. The girl ain't want him. So he was just doing the most. And there was times where I'm like, yo, dog, we're about to die.
He liked the girl that you didn't like?
Chick. Like, what are you doing?
Oh.
Yes. Like, I'm like, Hathaway is Bright's son. And funny story, though, as the story continues,
I thought
Bright ends up killing his son.
To be spoiling it. You're saying everything. Like, this is... Oh.
This is in a different movie.
This is interesting. Like, now I'm intrigued.
Like, pretty much the manga, the books came out or whatever, but now they're adapting some of the books to movies. Like, I didn't know that there was a continuation. I just learned about this summer, and they sold me because I did some research.
Okay.
It says Hathaway dies. I said, so they got my 20.
That's funny.
I'm going wherever y'all
There's a second round to this where I believe her name is, I don't know if it's Layla or Lala. Does that sound familiar? Okay, then there's someone else, Quest, right? Okay. And then I have Mirai or something. Okay.
Mira
cool.
Or
and
something
Nani.
like that. I know who you're talking about.
Yes. And why?
One gotta
Lala,
go.
what she do?
Lala. Why? Well, Lala's character was dope. But I really got mad at the fact that Amuro and Char's beef really turned into beef over her.
Oh,
because Amuro accidentally killed her. He loved her and Char loved her. And then when it turned into that, I said, "Dog, really?" So it really was. Like, I watched it over, like, this past summer. I literally watched the whole series over on YouTube. And then I watched Zeta Gundam and Char's counterattack. And I left this with, like, if Lala ain't get in the way of Amuro killing Char, we'd have had no problems.
Interesting. Next, we're going to a Goofy movie. One's Gotta Go. So we have Powerline, Goofy, Max, and Roxanne. What?
Oh, Goofy's out of here.
Why?
Yeah, Goofy's out of here. Roxanne bad, yo. Roxanne, baby. Yo, I had a Roxanne in my life. I know how that go. I ain't gonna do that to my man Max. I love Max. Powerline gave me hits. Only thing Goofy gave me was the perfect cast. I thought you were gonna say
Goofy gave you Max, but fine. Okay.
No, I'm good. We already got Max.
And then to bring it back to why we're here, the Great Mouse Detective. I'm going to start with Professor Ratigan, Fidget, which is the Fidget, excuse me. Miss Kitty the Mouse, that was the dancer, like the burlesque kind of dancer mouse. And Felicia the Cat, which was Ratigan's cat. The cat?
Probably the cat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was just annoying.
Yeah, completely
I was
agree.
like, oh, you're doing the most.
And
like,
last round, Basil. Well, I feel like I know this now. Olivia, Dr. David. Yeah. Or Hiram.
You already know.
Olivia's dad. Oh, I can't believe you're like,
bye, Olivia.
Look at those kids. No, she is adorable.
Bye.
Yeah.
Yep. That's some kids, yo.
So there's two more questions kind of before you part ways. And what animated character do you feel like you're the most like? In general, like of all the cartoon characters that exist or have existed. You can maybe use two characters if you feel like you're fuse them together on some Steven Universe stuff, and then that makes you.
Oh, man. I would say Gumball from the Amazing World of Gumball, because my life, the way it just happens out.
Like trying to record this episode. Like, what the heck?
The type of bad. Yeah, like The way things just happen, I'll be like, you have to be kidding me.
Oh,
that is Squidward.
I could kind of see that. Yeah. Okay. So using only animated characters, cast your biopic or biopic, however you pronounce that. Yeah, and
Like,
I don't know if you want to include some friends and family, you know, a couple, you know, it's your movie.
That's hard. I wish you'd have gave me that
Come
in
on.
advance. I don't even know.
Before this call messes up.
Don't do that. So, of course, I just said Gumball / Squidward will play me. Gumball will play young me. Squidward will play adult me. I don't know who would play my love interest, but let's just... Screw it. Again. Roxanne's my love interest.
Yeah.
Friends. No, our parents? Yikes. I could have said Doug. Doug is definitely me.
Doug is
Scratch that.
You.
I'm Doug. Yes, parents is we live like Charlie Brown. We have no parents. Still Patty Mayonnaise is my love interest / Roxanne, whichever one, don't matter. They both black. Friends, I would say Patrick would have to be my friend.
Like which friend is Patrick?
I don't know how he.
Well, you're picking your friends like you're casting a movie.
Matter of fact, all right. So my friend Boris will be Gerald from Hey Arnold. Ooh, this is tough. I'm gonna just stick with
two more friends.
I don't know.
Two more
friends.
Stick
with that. I'm gonna just keep moving off of the one friend.
No, just two more friends.
You're killing me,
okay,
bro.
do fine. Do the rest of the people from Enter the Minds.
All right. See, that's what I was trying to do. It. All right. What's my man's name from Recess?
Mikey.
The big kid that would always sing in the bathroom.
Mikey.
That was like hella shy.
Mikey's Courtney.
I'm gonna give Courtney Mikey. Yo, bro, you have all these words. We get it for the company. He's just quiet. And Jordan got to be someone aggressive. I almost see
Jordan as like Oscar from Proud Family. For some, like personality wise, not like physique or anything.
We know that. No, let me stop. But yeah, I can definitely see Oscar because he is very like high strung, set in his ways. Yes, I can definitely see Oscar. That was perfect. That was actually
that
perfect.
Was good.
There it is.
That was good. So this concludes the episode. You know, we had a lot of trials and tribulations, and I feel like we were both just about over it. Like one or two hiccups, we would have been like, let's just do this tomorrow. Like she's gonna be home for 8 weeks or something. We'll figure it out.
I'd have typed my dialogue and be like, here, just read
so
that.
Tell the listeners how they can find your podcast. I actually want to say I went to the website today and I was very like impressed, and I didn't text it or tweet it or anything, but the website looks really good. But yeah, tell them how they can listen to your show and like social media for the show and stuff like that.
Yeah, we put in a lot of work. Like we've been it took us a while for season 2, but we really was trying to work on things while we were doing it. But you can find me at Everybody Hates Marcus on Instagram, one word. On Twitter, you can find me at blame_Marcus. Shout out, thank you, Monique and Kadeja and everyone else that gave me that name. Thank you. For the podcast, you can find it on Twitter and Instagram at Enter the Minds. ENTERTHAMIDS. I had to make sure I could spell correctly.
So I, as always, would have a link to like everything he just said in the show notes. I also have trailers to all the movies that we talked about today. And I think that's it. Until next time. I don't know what the next episode's going to be, guys. Like, I feel like the whole world is just flipped upside down. It's fair. I'll do a date stamp. Today is March 17th. I also don't know when this episode will come out. It'll come out at some point. Because like tomorrow's episode, I haven't even started editing. I was just like, girl, what are you doing? Like, I'm losing all sense of time. No, but like that,
It takes time.
it's not
man.
a difficult episode, thankfully. But I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just like all over the place and whatever. But I'm just like, I'm figuring out what to do in terms of the podcast and talking about things, because some of the things I was going to talk about was based on events that's not happening. Oh my gosh.
Well,
I mean, I'll tell y'all, I'm just like getting together my like Disney Plus list, like my Netflix watch list, and saying, okay, well, just figuring out a little bit of a schedule. But ultimately, whatever I feel like watching, I guess I'll just talk about it and just keep including friends and guests, since we're all going to be like home for some while.
Monique, it's time. It's time
Well,
to
not
do your
again.
Avengers binge watch.
That was last year.
It's time. Nah, did you? Oh yeah, you did. For some reason, I still thought you only saw it from the YouTube stuff. You're right. You're right.
I was reminiscing. I was like, oh, this time last year, I was watching Game of Thrones and like these movies nonstop. I was like, how did I do that and work 2 jobs? Like, what was I on? I was.
Oh, you were dedicated, because I didn't even. I'm a lie. I ain't gonna lie to you. Remember I started Game of Thrones after you. I skipped like 2 seasons. Yeah, I skimmed them. I skimmed through them. I was like, nope, good. Okay, Battle of the Bastards, I'm back. And I just, I didn't even watch the last season.
That like season leading up to, or the season of Battle of the Bastards, it was actually kind of like rough. Yeah.
No, that's the one I watched.
But you should just watch the last season for closure. It doesn't matter that you know what's going to happen.
Episode, like the last season episode,
for like just contextual closure. We don't have nothing else to do. Like I said. Yeah. So thank you again. And for me, you guys, as always, can find me on all social media platforms at Simplyrobotics, SIMPLYROBOTIX, website simplyrobotics.com. And till next time, bye.